One of our core values here at Spiritfilled is innovation. And we're always looking for strategic partners to work with that share those values with us as a company. We were actually introduced to Alex Walper of East London Liquor Company at one of our legendary events at Berry Brothers and Rudd through one of our mutual contacts, Alexander Sacom. Straight away we knew that our values aligned with Alex at East London Liquor Company, and therefore we were keen to know more. We were keen to explore more about the distillery, more about their processes, and certainly more about the whisky that they produce.
My name's Alex, I'm founder of East London Liquor Company. We're based in East London because not only was it a wonderful find for us to find somewhere where we could actually build our distillery 10 years ago, but actually also East London has a wonderful, diverse mix of backgrounds and influences, which gives us a kind of playground for us to evolve, develop, and NPD our products over the last few years. So we've been incredibly fortunate to have wonderful bars, restaurants, hotels, clubs that have taken our product over the years, given us feedback and grown as we have grown into what's not just been a kind of local brand anymore, but working nationally, regionally, and globally as well.
They do things slightly differently, but they have full focus on what they're producing, the way they approach their flavour profiles, and producing phenomenal young single malt whisky. So we wanted to work with them closer.
The exciting piece about what we're doing is that we have no predetermined or pre-existing restrictions or focus on what we do, other than that liquid drives everything we do. And that's a great place to be. We have this clean slate where no one expects a London whiskey to taste a certain way, that people haven't been making whiskey in London for over 100 years now. So we have this kind of carte blanche to look at the category and go, how do we make delicious liquid that is relevant, that appeals to the bartender and the consumer in the same way, and debunks all the old tropes and myths about who your average whiskey drinker is, which, as we know, is restrictive, narrow, and kind of pretty outdated. So how do we make whiskey exciting for everyone? That's the challenge, and the answer is really in the liquid. How do we talk about the liquid differently? How do we talk about what you do with the liquid differently? We don't have a cocktail whiskey and a sipping whiskey. We have great whiskey, and you can do both with them. And you know, to kind of break away from the old narrative about where it comes from and what an age statement means or doesn't mean is refreshing. And the feedback we get is that reframing whiskey makes it more accessible to our customers, and that's a wonderful thing to be able to do.
So they're a really, really young, exciting, experienced team at East London Liquor Company. And what we loved is their fierce commitment to quality, and that again excited us as a company.
We make a London rye, we make a single malt, and it's a lovely provocation to make a single malt, take a bottle out in a bar, in a consumer tasting, and give someone a dram and say, look, this is, you might associate single malt with a liquid made north of the border, and actually we're able to make 100% malted barley, make a single malt here in London, and provoke people to look at something that they might think they have an understanding of or a knowledge of, and provoke their sensibilities and understanding of what the liquid can be. Otherwise, we get dragged down into the old school tropes of what whiskey can be, and those are not inclusive.
So we've worked with East London Liquor Company to offer two very unique opportunities. Number one, we are the first independent company to be offering their casks as an investment to our investors, which is hugely exciting. Secondly, we're also bottling two casks that have been hand-picked, working with the distillery manager at East London Liquor Company and working with the expert around us. We're able to pick two casks that we're going to be bottling later this year.
The bit that gelled when we talked with Russell and Ross was that the approach to promoting and talking about our liquid was very much in line with Spiritfield's approach, which is a kind of endless attempt at reframing what whiskey can be and provoking their customer base as much as we were provoking ours to look at whiskey differently.
So this is our single malt. It kind of encapsulates the way we think about whiskey and the way we make whiskey from the start. So if you're going to make a whiskey really interesting without all of the heritage and the kind of other stuff that comes with it, you need to think about every single stage of the process. And the most important bit of the process to start with is barley, a single malt. So we don't have rolling hills of barley in London, but we can choose the nearest and some of the best places that barley is grown in the UK, which is Norfolk. And also famous for a very, very flavorful heritage variety of barley called Maris Otter. So this is what our single malt is based around. So the second most important part of the process is done in the brew house when it comes to yeast choice and yeast strains. We've always focused around Saison being a kind of primary strain because it kind of invokes bananas, kind of crazy, funky, farmhousey kind of vibes into your whiskey. And then we always pair that with some kind of distilling yeast as well. So depending on the summer and the winter, we'll adapt the strains for the temperature in the brew house. So that is where you're kind of adding flavors into the new make before you've gone anywhere near barrels. And that kind of outlines really everything we want to do. We want that new make to be absolutely delicious before it goes anywhere near any wood.
I guess that's why we don't have numbers on the bottles. Age is not the primary focus. The liquid and how we got the liquid is. It seems really simplistic to just focus on age and therefore imply that as the number goes up, the liquid gets better and darker, which is the old school narrative, which doesn't really give the consumer that much information. So it's kind of lovely to be able to dispense with that.
So the way we like to use tasting notes is more kind of what's called profile rather than finish, palate, other bits of vibes, kind of, all these other different things. I think it's easier to just use words that pop into your head when you drink whiskey. It's a bit more free. It's more evocative of memories and other different bits and pieces. Like this, you can kind of, bash things off quickly. Like, I don't know, motorcycle, treehouse, definite old treehouse. All of these things just kind of stack up into not being in any particular order. It's just a nice, almost simpler way of talking and like conversing about whiskey.
Yeah, I guess particularly when you're doing a tasting of 2 or 3 of our whiskies, it's a really instinctive, intuitive, mental note of a sensation that you associate with the liquid. So whether it's ferry or pickle, as long as people don't feel excluded by the profile notes we give, but feel provoked and welcomed in to tasting our liquid and thinking about the liquid differently, then we're all winning.
So this is a single cask sample for Mythical Beasts. Single casks are the other thing we kind of have in our wheelhouse when you're going around the warehouse trying different barrels for thinking about blends, and every now and again there are just a few that are just way too good to blend with everything else.
It just makes it particularly special that it's completely transient, and when it's gone, it's gone. So to identify these amazing casks that are not going into our blended releases, it makes it all the more special to savour because there are literally a few hundred bottles and that's it.
So we've started our relationship with East London Liquor Company around about 8 months ago. We're really, really looking forward to the future with the business and building that strategic partnership. We're excited to see what comes next. We're excited to see their innovation and how that drives our partnership forward.